Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of my garden tour. These are my potatoes. I got different varieties of potatoes. They are already, some of them are dry. Excuse me. But I plant 1, 2, 3 rows in this one and about 4 in those ones over there. So in this bed I planted some corn, but the corn came uneven and I was like, it's not gonna work, so I just pulled them out and plant some heirloom tomatoes. So these tomatoes are not for like big production or anything like that. They're just, to have a nice slice of tomato, and they're not for canning or anything like that. They're just for eating and sharing. So excuse me, I don't need it like a big huge amount of productivity, and they're doing pretty well. So I planted them a little bit late. They're doing pretty good. I need to weed those from the lawnmower. So these are my zucchinis. I have been harvesting a lot of them, and there's a new one coming over there. So what I do with the zucchinis, I hand pollinate them. You cannot rely on pollinators to pollinate your zucchinis. So every morning I come out and pollinate my zucchinis. I get one of the male flowers. You can see here, like this one. I take off the petals, and then I go and insert the male on the female one, and make sure that it's covered in pollen. And that's how I get a lot of zucchinis every year. I also don't I don't think the plant can handle more than 2 zucchinis at the same time, so I just only pollinate 2, and then when like this one, I didn't pollinate it because they already had 2, so that one is gonna fall off pretty soon. But I'm gonna take those, like that one today and that one maybe tomorrow. And here I have more. Previously I had some lettuce. This is from the lettuce that I have left. And here's some more. And this is the cucumber. It's doing well, kind of. There's more lettuce. I planted some zinnias that I grew from seeds. And I have more zucchinis. These are my tomatoes. Another zucchini. I have beets in this flower bed. And look at those tomatoes. These plants are loaded with Roma tomatoes. Look at those. I have to prune all those leaves a little bit so they can have more air circulation. Look. I don't know if you can see it, but they are loaded with tomatoes. Get that. There's like a jungle of tomatoes over there. So here, these tomatoes got burned by the frost, like burned to the ground. But since I planted them like with the roots really with the like that, they came back. I didn't think they would come back, but they did, and they're doing pretty good. I need to like stake them kind of, or like support them. I have some onions and these tomatoes, they're doing well. I have basil, I have zinnias, I have some Brussels sprouts in there, and some of my, what's the name, cherry tomatoes that got burned too, and it came back really strong. So I have some what is the name of that? I forget the name. I'll put it in the thing. And onions in that bed. So here I have my cabbage. My cabbage is ready to be picked. They're not like big, huge, but I planted them not too early. So I have basil, my tomatoes, Roma tomatoes. I have more cabbage over there. And look at all those tomatoes. So my Roma tomatoes. I decided to grow more Roma tomatoes because they're easier to can and to freeze, and I use them more in sauces and stuff like that. So yeah, I have zinnias and beets. I have kale in that one. I have my eggplants that I already have eggplants over there. I don't know if you can see it over there. I have Swiss chard, more eggplants and Swiss chard. So this is what happened when you don't mulch your garden or your flower bed. These are my beans. This is an experiment. These are my pinto beans. They're not doing that bad, but I really didn't take care of the beds and didn't mulch them on time. So yeah, that's what happened. These are my potatoes. They're already dry enough. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows in this one, and they're doing good. They're doing pretty good. So I didn't show these in the other garden tour. These are some hollyhocks that I planted. They were in pots and I recently just planted here. And those are my garden phlox. I put an extra birth bath because it haven't rained in a while, so it's really hard for the poor birdies. I did put one over there in that garden too. Sorry, my finger. Too. So anyways, so that's my bench. Oh, I'm so excited for these. I got these. I helped my friend to fix her garden, and she didn't want some stuff in her garden, so some of the plants that we pull out, she let me keep them, and this is one of them, and I'm so excited. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Like, the buds are beautiful. So yeah, more hollyhocks. This is part of the orchard, so those are my blackberries. And here we have our fire pit. Just a little tour of my fire pit. The kids love it. So anyways, some of my potted plants. And look at that monster. That's a cucumber plant. We have been picking cucumbers like crazy, and we have a lot of cucumbers to pick. Yeah, that's crazy. They're everywhere. Anyways, this is uh, some of the Brandywine tomatoes. It's growing. I'm gonna start over here. Sorry about the light. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start this way because of the light. So these are my cucumbers. I grew these from seeds and I planted them just right there. And they are crazy. There's so many cucumbers. I'm gonna juice them. I love cucumber juice. So those are my beans. I have to check them out because, oh no, sorry. These are my favorite squash, but this some bugs are already got them. So I don't know what to do with that. I think I'm gonna plant them again to see if I have time. But they are delicious, and I am so upset. Anyways, these are another heirloom tomatoes that I grew from seed, and I forgot the tag, so I have to go back and check. So I have celery, I have what's the name, zinnias, I have marigolds, I have basil. This is another brand, I think it's a Brandywine, no, Roger tomato, I think it is. That is huge, and it has a lot of fruits that I have to protect it from this monster because it wants to climb everywhere. Look at all those cucumbers. It's crazy. And this is a volunteer squash. I don't even know what it is. It took over my pathway. But I'm gonna just let it go. I'm not gonna fight with it. I just let it go. And she can do whatever she wants to. I had a flower bed over there. And I had my chicken coop, kind of. The one that I was gonna use for a chicken coop. But I gave it away. And then I had the spot. And I planted some squash. Butternut squash. This was my garlic bed. And these are, I planted some carrots last year. So all these flowers are carrots flowers. So yep, I'm gonna have some carrot seeds. We picked the garlic. It wasn't that much, so here I have some of it. It was too dry and some of them stay on the ground, so well. And I planted some of that potatoes in this bed last year, so I have some volunteer potatoes too. That's kind of funny. Look at that jungle. So after I dig out the garlic, I planted some watermelons. 3 watermelons. My daughter loves watermelons. And this bed has been the most productive bed this year. I got a lot of spinach and kale and Swiss chard and a lot of stuff. So we still have some Swiss chard over there, so like the colorful ones. But I also have volunteer potatoes. I planted potatoes in this one too, in this area last year. And there's a lot of potatoes. I have some more Brussels sprouts. We have a lot of volunteer sunflowers. I even have volunteer tomatoes. This one is a volunteer tomato, so I don't know what it is. I think it's aroma. I have volunteer squashes everywhere, kale,
water tank. I think this is a Brandywine tomato too. So I have volunteer nasturtium, and I love them. I love the flower. I eat them. Tomatoes. These are all of my tomatoes. Most of my tomatoes. Is it all tomatoes? Volunteer nasturtium too. That's celery. These are my peppers. If you can see, I widened the pathway so I can set up my watering system in the garden. So I just have to attach some kind of like, you know, those things that I don't remember the name on my thing, and then run something, and then like that. So yeah, that's gonna be my next project. These are some onions, zinnias, dill, marigold, eggplant, and my peppers. These are my peppers. I thought these peppers would not make it because they got burned by the frost, and they were like stunned. I don't know if that's the word, but they weren't growing that much. But as it's getting hotter, they're kind of picking up, and I took all the blooms off them too because I want them to grow a little bit taller. I have some basil, volunteer, what's the name? Marigold. I have volunteer cilantro all the time. I just planted cilantro once, 1 year, and they took over my garden. Like every year I have cilantro. I don't have to plant them. Another tomato. This echinacea I planted like wild seeds last year, and it's there. So I'm gonna dig it out next year maybe and plant it somewhere else. And this is my other tomato bed and eggplant. I have some marigold, cilantro everywhere, like everywhere. More eggplants. I have to kind of weed these a little bit. I'm gonna clean May's cage and put all the bedding in here. So more cilantro. So this is doing pretty good. I have tons of tomatoes in this one too, and they're gonna be huge. They are gonna be huge. This is my compost. This is my compost bin. I just got it a couple of months ago because I decided to make this a bee garden. I don't do anything. I just let them. Sorry. I don't know if you can see that, but that's for bumblebees and pollinators and a lot of sunflowers, volunteer sunflowers. I didn't plant any sunflowers this year. And this is my compost. I might get another one of those. Okay, so and I would like to show you the layout of this one, but the sun, it's, I don't know if you can see that. It looks like a jungle. That's a massive.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was useful, helpful, or at least entertaining for you guys. See you next time. Bye.